Well, good morning, Kelowna and Victoria. A little smoky here, folks. Not terribly smoky, but enough that the mountains look like they have fog on them.
A little foggy out there.
Yeah,
yep.
It's but what a great time of year. The plants are just loving it. Everything is just hopping.
Annuals are just really seem to be enjoying it. I've got a planter that has some begonias and some verbena, and it's got actually a giant begonia, one of the Pegasus begonias, which is a nice one. But they're all just
everything's coming on nicely.
They're
enough,
so happy.
They have no idea what's around the corner.
That's right.
They're going, oh yeah, this is great.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
this
right.
Is nice.
Give us a month. Okay, let's do the tips and the plants of the week.
All righty.
My tip of the week is if you want to save some annuals for next year, such as geraniums, coleus, and even a favorite petunia, and you don't have room to carry the large plant through the winter in a pot, you might want to take some cuttings and root some small plants, and so you can have them on the windowsill, treat them as small house plants through the winter, and then start working on them in the spring. This is a little bit of work, but it's a lot of fun. It's called passionate gardening, and you can save $1 or $2 by doing that. Especially if you get a favorite one that you just really like, and you want to carry it through. My plant of the week is Cyclamen Neapolitanum album.
Oh,
it's
yes.
my little white hardy cyclamen out. Now, people say cyclamen, especially in the Okanagan, they go, cyclamen? How can you grow a cyclamen outside? Yeah, these are hardy, down to zone 5, so they're really doing well, and produces lovely heart-shaped leaves, elegant, pure to pale pink blossoms.
Lovely.
White, white. It's white. Mine is white, so that's the album.
They come in white and pink, I think, and maybe even blue. All right. Oh, I love those cyclamen. It's a very cool plant. All right, I also have a tip and a plant this week, and my tip of the week is to go big or go home when it comes to fall bulbs. Whenever you plant bulbs, the one thing that's noted, especially tulips, is that I always like to cut some and take them in the house because they're just one of the best cut flowers. So when I dig a hole for tulips, I don't, sometimes you can put them in like, say, one every 12 inches and cover a big area. Or you can dig one massive hole, say 2 feet in diameter by about 10 or 12 inches deep, put a mass of bulbs, all one color, into that, so as many as you can fit, so it's often 15 or so, and then bury that in. And then in the springtime, you get this massive bouquet that shoots up. And then what you can do is you can go in and steal blooms for your cut flowers, and it still doesn't affect your display out in the garden. So I really like to do that. So I go big or go home when it comes to bulbs, put lots in each hole, and that gives you a really nice show. Plus, you can get some cuts. All right, now my plant of the week is the fall crocus, the colchicum, which we talked a little bit about last week, but colchicum, or the fall crocus, is a interesting plant. They're also called bare-naked ladies, which is interesting. And that's because the plant shoots up the flowers and there's no foliage, because the foliage comes up in the spring and does its thing, and then the flowers come up in the fall. It's just kind of an interesting plant. They are very poisonous, though, and it's interesting. I went on the internet and I did a little bit of checking, and there's several websites that recommend them for use as a medical treatment. And I'm just saying it's very poisonous, toxic, and you have to be super careful with it. So I wouldn't be going in that direction unless it's something that the medical industry has created, which they do have. They do make medicines from it. So there you go. That's my tip and plant this week. Remember to check growercoach.com and Grower Coach on YouTube.
Ken, I'm just wondering if those colchicum, the bare-naked ladies, are worth $1 million.
I don't know.
If I had $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Look at this. Is this? We keep talking about this and saying how this is a great time of the year, and we get that urge to say that so much because, I walked through the garden this morning, and it was the coolest night that we've had so far. It was about 8 degrees overnight in Kelowna. A little bit warmer in Victoria, but that coolness makes things kind of get their second wind. Now, I do have the issue coming up now. This is the time of year I get quite nervous because I walk around the yard looking at all my plant collection.
Yep.
My non-hardy plant collection.
Yes, me too.
And every one that I stare at, it's going, not me, not me, not the green bin. Because there's a lot of them that won't get chosen to go into the greenhouse. I'm preparing the greenhouse. I'm building shelves for the winter. I'm making sure that I can accommodate as many as I can. But it seems, Ken, every year I get more and more plants.
Right. And
I don't build a bigger greenhouse.
No. And I suffer the same problem. My entire house is not big enough. And so, but your tip, on taking cuttings from plants that you really like and you want to try to keep them going through the winter is really a great idea because that just shrinks this space that plant takes up through the winter. Geraniums, you've often said, right at the end of the season or sometime around the end of August or early September, you can get out and do geranium cuttings and they just root like crazy.
Easy. Right outside.
Yeah, do them, just literally pop them into pots.
Yeah.
So,
it's really something because some of the plants that I got, 6 or 7 years ago as a young plant, from the greenery or when named succulent, right? A gasteria, one of the gasterias or a haworthia or whatever. You get them as this little 2-inch pot or,
they're tiny
5-centimeter pot kind of thing. And, that's fine. But, in 7 or 8 years, these things become into an 8-inch pot, and they're full, and they're big, and they're overgrown.
But they're also beautiful.
But, gorgeous. Mm-hmm. But it's a matter of being able to keep them. So now I'm getting quite gutsy here. I'm mean and nasty sometimes. Like I split up my my Sansevieria, my starfish Sansevieria.
Oh, yeah.
It was really fat. It was a huge pot. And I split it up. I've been giving away young Sansevierias to my friends. Oh, did I give one to you?
No.
Well, I've got your name on one.
Yeah.
But don't tell Wendy.
No. Just hold it. This conversation's not going in the right direction.
Yeah, don't tell Wendy.
I'm supposed to be reducing the plants before winter comes. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing. I'll split these big guys up that have overgrown. I'll make a small one.
Yeah.
And either, like I say, some of it goes in the green bin because, But interestingly enough, we have such a massive amount of cucumbers, Carmen cucumbers, that, they're growing like crazy now. Mm-hmm. And every day we put about 5 or 6 of them in a box out in front of the driveway. And every morning, they're gone.
Yep.
They're gone. Free cucumbers, they're gone. Everybody likes the Carmen cucumbers.
Might as well take them while they're hot.
Yeah.
Or while they're ready and crispy and fresh.
Yeah. And we're still drying like crazy, doing lots of drying. We're going to pick up those Flemish Beauty pears pretty quick here. And,
they're just coming ready, are they? Or?
Yep, they are. 250-862-2525 to get through to us if you're in the Okanagan here, in the central Okanagan. And if you're in Victoria or anywhere listening online, 1-888-780-4273 to get through to Ken and I today. Been doing this a long time. We enjoy every Saturday morning getting it together. We're friends as well as partners in business and on radio, but we are also friends, and we appreciate that friendship. Been friends for quite a while, Ken. Well, jeepers, 86 or so when we became friends.
It's a while.
30 years. So, yeah, wow. Whew. I didn't think you were that old. You must have been 2 years old when I met you.
Yeah, I think I was about maybe 3.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you. And we've got the Historical Society calendars out, the 2024. Can you believe it? 2024. Okanagan Historical Society Kelowna branch has now its new calendar out. Picture on the front is the aquatic fire. Photo was taken by Mike Durbin, which was was a firefighter at the time. And he used to play in the Kelowna Packers. Mike Durbin did.
Right.
In the Kelowna Packers hockey team. But this is a great calendar. I think it's $20. Might be $25, but I think it's $20. And it's available if you call Bob Hayes at 250-763-8859. Also, Chris Jennings. I don't have Chris Jennings' phone number here for some reason. It's misplaced, but that's okay. We'll get that for you. And if you want to buy that calendar, because it's wonderful for people. who are new, relatively new. And when I say new to Kelowna, I would mean the last 30 years. New people. I still think you're a relatively new person here in town, Ken, because, I mean, I've been here since the 50s. My dad came here in 22. So, yeah, somebody who's been here 30 years is relatively new.
It's all relative.
But there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, It's good. We need new people. We got to have new people, or else we wouldn't have any people left if we didn't have any people.
But the calendar is cool because it just has these great historical photographs, which are just fascinating, and especially this cover photo to me is very cool.
We're going to take a short break. Yep. We've got Leslie waiting in the sidelines here for us because we want to talk to her right away. As soon as we come back after this break, after this short break, we'll be back with the Garden Show after this short break. And you give those numbers the heed because we love to hear from you. And we're going to talk to Leslie right now. Good morning, Leslie.
Good morning. Oh, Leslie, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
I planted some irises, and they were given to me. I cut them back, like you said, and planted them about 20 inches apart. Mm-hmm. And over the summer, it's been hot, so I've watered them now and then. They seem to be doing fine. But we have someone that comes in and cuts the grass, and he cuts them right back, most of them. Now, they slowly come along, but I'm concerned over the winter. Will they grow enough that I won't have to worry about them in the cold weather?
Yeah, they should be fine, as long as there's still just a little leaf that's sticking out of the top of them. You know, if you still have a little green leaf there, because it's common. Let's say if I had irises, and I do have irises, often around the end of August or even mid-August, I'll go out and if they're looking ratty, looking like a little bit, brown and whatnot, I'll just go and trim them down to about 3 or 4 inches tall. And then they'll produce a new central leaf that'll come up, and it just keeps them sort of tidy and out of the way. And usually that's done, even right now would be fine. So I think yours will respond, and as long as you start getting a little leaf pushing up, then they should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thank you for your help.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I enjoyed the show. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate the call, Leslie.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah. And, of course, we're talking what common name, flag iris or
German iris.
There's quite a few iris. There's a bulbous irises. Yeah. There's iris reticulata. Mm-hmm. I love irises. We got little baby. We got some from Helen. This tiny little irises that poke through, and they're only about 3 inches tall, and they got this beautiful little iris flower.
Yeah, we used to have a little one. It was just like grass. It was only grew about maybe 18 inches tall, and it was so fine. And the flowers were these little tiny, almost like a, it's hard to describe, but extremely red, like the reddest of the red, like the real, trying to think of the name, but the lobelia that's very red, the red flowered lobelia, the perennial one.
Cardinalis?
Yeah, cardinalis, that's it. Same color as that for an iris.
Yeah.
Small bloom, though, only about 2 inches by 2 inches. But what a cool plant that was. And I had that years ago, and unfortunately have lost track of that one. But there are many, 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 many irises out there. Fun to collect.
Well, let's hope that this winter, Ken, doesn't do a similar thing that last winter did, and that was the anomaly we had where it was so mild right up until, freeze up time in December, and then it got so cold that we saw some real damage. My laurel is barely coming back. I'm going to have to cut all the old wood on my laurel right down and let it regrow from the base. It's shooting some nice growth from the base, but even though there was some buds coming, I don't know if you noticed the other day when you were there, but there's some buds coming.
Yeah.
Those buds have dried up. There was
Oh.
real damage to the cambium as well as the foliage
So the
itself.
whole plant froze.
Yeah, it's in rough shape. So I think it's going to have the restart button pressed and regrow it from the base. Very similar to my fig. However, part of my fig is doing very, very well, and we're drying figs, which I really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
They got that nice little the seeds the seeds are a bit crunchy, and it's very, very cool.
Yeah. It's odd with your fig tree how the entire plant, like you grow it here, you cover it in a box like a little greenhouse on the side of the shed or the garage there, and then but half of it died and half of it didn't die, which is kind of a weird.
I can't figure it out, Ken. But it happened, and this year, of course, I'm going to have to. Last year, you make these mistakes, but I did cover it, and I have a little baseboard heater in there that I can fire up, but I didn't fire it up when it got really cold at the beginning. I fired it up
Isn't
after.
that funny how that goes?
Oh man,
sort of funny.
You try your best, but it doesn't always work. Anyway, it is just a fun thing to do to bring figs through in the Okanagan. No, we're talking Okanagan, folks. Down in Victoria, you can just grow them all year, and they're fine.
Yeah, I think they
do. A lot of these Chicago figs and things like that are very hardy. You don't lose them.
Yeah, they're good to about -10, I think.
Yeah.
That's how they're sort of rated. So I think that's a sort of a zone 7, zone 8, sort of, maybe zone 7 and a bit.
Right.
Somewhere around there.
Grinder has a question from a caller.
Yeah, so our caller asked, what perennials are good to be cut back right now in the fall?
Yes.
The majority.
Yeah.
Well, most of are getting ready for winter.
Yeah, the thing that's happening, though, is that we do have lots that wait till this time of year to bloom. So so what I look for is a symptom, which is where they're starting to turn yellow. And that's the first thing you look for. As soon as you start seeing a few leaves turning yellow or turning fall colors, that's when they're then eligible to be cut off. Some peonies are starting to do that. But if they're healthy looking and green looking, then you kind of let them grow, because that green is feeding energy into the roots, and it's still in that storing energy for the winter. So I tend to leave them as long as I can. But on the other hand, I don't want to really leave them until they turn into mush, because then they're kind of a little bit more messy to clean up. So there's just this perfect point when they start to show their fall colors and they're still upright, and then you can clip them off literally right to the ground. I usually leave it about a 2-inch little stem at the base so that I can still see where it was. Right. And except for in the case of lilies, where with lilies I'll leave a tall stem, usually more like about 12 inches tall. And that's just so that I can see that they're there in the springtime. I can identify them so I don't step on them accidentally, which can really destroy your entire lily show if you step in the wrong spot.
Yeah, I'm thinking, definitely Aquilegia, the columbines that can all be sheared back now down to the ground.
Yeah, and some
also
of
some of the daylilies.
Daylilies are starting to get pretty yellow.
Yep.
But like what I always tell people is that if it's a key plant, like if it's right by your entranceway, and say I had a daylily right beside my stairs going up to the front door, I would probably take the time to go in and pull the yellow out of that daylily and keep the green, because it's holding its spot there. It's a key important plant, even though it's not blooming or anything, but it still looks like grass and it's got its place. So I'll just remove some of the yellow leaves. Of course, you can't keep up to that. As soon as you get to about 60% yellow, you might as well just chop the thing right to the ground and get rid of that messy look, But it's just because it's right at the entranceway. If it's around the side or somewhere where it's not important, then, it's just up to you and how much time you have. And with daylilies, that's the thing, is when they're still green, you generally cut them off. But once they're completely yellow, you can just pull them off with your hands, and they let go quite easily.
Yeah. Hostas, once the cooler weather comes and we get a slight frost, they just turn yellow and turn into mush, a lot of them. So sometimes getting that off before it turns into mush might be a little easier than doing the mushy thing.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and hostas are just so great. Other than the deer still like to eat them as well as people. I know a lot of people eat hostas, so that's okay.
People eat hostas?
Yeah, they're an edible plant, which is kind of
the leaf or what?
The leaf, leafage.
Interesting.
Yeah, but they're a very pretty plant, and exactly what you say. Is they start to turn yellow, and it's that thing. Is that when they're just starting to turn, they're nice and they're still firm and sort of crunchy and upright. So then if you were using a hedge trimmer to cut back perennials, like often when people have larger plantings of perennials, it's quite a deal to, if you have lots of time, you can go in and selectively remove them as they turn yellow for the fall and just cutting them to the ground. But if you have a hedge trimmer and you want to do them all at once, you can literally just go in and take the entire garden down to the ground. And it takes a strong back because you're cutting it at ground level. Right. But, it goes so fast. And then you just rake off the surface. So there's quite a bit of a movement right now to leaving a certain amount of debris on the surface of the ground over the winter time. Yeah. So, and that's so that insects and some animals and organisms have a little bit of winter protection over the winter. And this, clearing off certain beds sometimes will maybe be exposing those or not allowing the insects a space to overwinter. Now, that being said, if we were using a nice composted mulch and we have 2.5 inches of that throughout the garden, it's less of an issue because that also acts as a place for the insects and animals to
live. Forest litter, Ken, and that is exactly the natural thing to have happen is out in the forest and out in the wild, when a plant dies down in the fall, nobody comes in and cleans it up.
Exactly. There's nobody out there.
Nobody out there. We do invite your calls, 250-862-2525 if you're in the Okanagan area here. If you're in Victoria on the island, 1-888-780-4273. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll be back with The Garden Show after this short break. We are back with you, Ken and I here, and we've been joined by our friend Dan Bruce. How are you doing this morning, Dan?
Oh, I'm doing all right. And you?
Very well, very well.
So far, so good.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice family weekend this weekend. We've got my brother's eldest boy, Jess, coming to town, and we're looking so forward to seeing Jess. And he happens to be going with a gal named Jess. So we got Jess and Jess coming.
Nice.
Well, that just makes it easy. I mean, you just holler out one name and they both get them both.
It's similar to Dawn and Donna, I mean.
Yeah.
Similar.
Anyways.
What's going on today?
Well, I have at least 3 hummingbirds.
There you go.
Is that okay for this time of year, or do they normally split the scene?
The Rufus and Calliope hummingbirds have all gone. What I've got here are 3 Anna's hummingbirds, and they do quite often stick around through the winter.
Wow.
We've had them here all winter. Not every winter, but
they hunker down.
They do, and I don't know. People ask me, well, what do they eat? Where do they sleep? Well, I don't know. They just appear.
Well, it is fascinating, the bird brain. They call it bird brain because they're smart in many, many ways, but you wonder what the heck's going on. Even our little collection of mostly sparrows in our backyard, and some days they're just all over the place. You can't hear yourself talk because of the chirping going on. And then other days there's just complete silence and there's not a bird around. And you just wonder what they're thinking. So it's quite a study, actually.
Well, they, yes. And, I mean, science flounders around trying to provide answers to the questions.
Yeah.
Lately, we've had... last week, we had an osprey flying back and forth over the lake, but in front of the house. So it's quite a ways out there, and continually calling. And I've never had an osprey that I've noticed do that here before. And it occurred to me it might be due to the fires and a bird being sort of displaced. But,
Could be. As I'm sure there's a lot of animals that have suffered from displacement.
Yes, but then I went along Tyndall Road the other day, and at the far south end of Tyndall Road, there's a BC Hydro pole put there for the purpose with an osprey nest on it. And it survived the fire.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
But I slowed down and stopped and looked at it, and there was an osprey on the nest.
Wow. Well, yeah, that's, the one thing when we see that massive fire that happened 3 weeks ago, and it's still burning, but it's not close to homes now. I still, everybody says, well, it's not near structures and whatever. Yeah, but it's near a lot of our animal friends and
There's
plants.
still people who are evacuated.
Oh, yes. Oh, there are.
Yeah.
It's very serious. But, Dan, fascinating. I was at a garden club meeting in Penticton about 2015, something like that. And there was a gentleman there, very knowledgeable gentleman, knowledgeable in his plant nomenclature and whatnot. He was studying the aftermath of the 2003 fires and how the regrowth. He went to this one area, and he mapped out everything that was returning and coming, and he wrote a book on it, actually. And fascinating presentation that he had there. That was 2016, so now it's even, probably, it's amazing. What I'm saying, I guess, in a nutshell, is the way things recover from fire. It's kind of a natural thing to happen, and plants will survive,
Well, there's, a number of species that seed, and the seed is adapted to withstand fire. So that when the fire's over, and you get a little bit of moisture, that's the key issue.
in fact, they don't germinate unless they do have the fire. But Dan, we're going to have to. We've got phone calls are coming in like crazy, and we want to get them before the next break. We always appreciate talking to you. It's a fun thing, and I know that you're going through a little bit of problems right now, and we'll chat about that at some point when we get together.
We will.
Yeah, okay, buddy.
I will call you later today.
Please do.
Right.
Okay, take care.
Bye for now.
You betcha. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And we have Tracy joining us from Victoria. Sorry to keep you waiting, Tracy.
That's okay. Good morning.
Hey.
I've got peonies I need help with. They've been in the garden for about 15 years. They've been moved a couple times. This time, I want to know if I can. I need to move them because they're getting too big and stuff around them's growing in on them. Can I divide them?
Yeah, this is the time, typically in September, when you can do quite a bit with peonies. And division is pretty straightforward, other than, what I try to do is dig out the entire plant if I can, every piece of it, because I want to kind of keep it in control at the same time.
How deep do they go?
Typically around maybe about a foot to maybe as deep as 18 inches maximum. It depends on how old the plant is and how healthy it is and the type of soil.
Soil conditions, yeah.
Yeah, because if the soil is really, let's say, it's just maybe sandier or so, they might be able to get the roots down a little deeper. But typically, you just keep digging carefully around, and you're lifting out these things, and they're like logs.
They're like a which?
Like a log, like a big rhizomous root.
Oh, they're rhizomes. Okay.
Yeah, and so as you dig them out, they all kind of fall apart. It's just the way it goes. Is they don't want to stick together. They always just crumble and fall apart. So as you're digging it out, you're kind of trying to be careful to keep some together, only because it takes a long time to get a decent-sized peony. And if you can keep those roots together, then it's going to be faster to get back to a reasonable size that's going to bloom for you. So digging out the plant, getting it all out, and putting it on a tarp, and then inspecting the roots because they have these big fleshy roots that they're often consumed by different types of grubs and sometimes even pocket gophers and that sort of thing can cause damage to the roots. So you're going to pick through them a bit and pick the healthiest, happiest looking ones, and any piece of those roots will grow.
Okay.
So like even if you sort of dice them up a little bit, I would generally let each piece kind of dry before I would replant it so that any freshly broken edges or pieces had a chance to dry up a little bit, so maybe as much as a week or two in the open atmosphere. And it'll dry up those edges, and once it's dry, then you can just put it back into the soil, and typically at about maybe 3 inches deep or so. And then you get, so they're easy to propagate. Because I know I've dug them all out before, and then each little piece that I left behind, they all grew back, and accidentally even just dropping a few little pieces into the ground, they seem to grow.
Ken, I'll just butt in here for a second, but what the old information that we've had over the years is don't plant them too deep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that important?
Because the plant situates itself where it wants to be, and when you're starting with a smaller plant, it's probably less of an issue than if you could move a big plant and move it into a new spot. I'd be more inclined to keep it at whatever depth it was at originally. But I hear a lot about that, but I have yet to really been able to prove that.
They're relatively foolproof. However,
but they don't
I do get questions. I do get questions over the years. Why doesn't my peony bloom? I planted it 2 years ago, and that beautiful yellow that we got from Helen.
Oh, yeah.
It took 2 years, and this year it just came on like crazy. So sometimes it just takes some time.
What I was saying about peonies is that they do take years to form a decent plant. So if you can keep a chunk of root, let's say that has 3 of those rhizomes together where they all connect at one point, that's going to give you a bigger, more healthy plant right away, rather than if you have these little pieces, it could take anywhere from 3 to 5 years to get them up to blooming again.
Okay. Yeah, one is very big. It's over 30 years old. This one, it's got multi blooms on one stem.
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Blush color. It's really pretty.
Oh, lovely.
And my friend wants some of it. So.
Sure. Well, you do that for your friend because that's what plant people do.
I have to move it, so I thought that's the time to give her some.
Absolutely, Tracy. We really appreciate your call.
Thank you.
And take care.
Question.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Bye-bye now. And we have Pat joining us. We've got a few minutes here. Pat?
Good morning, gentlemen. Love your show.
Thank you.
I have 2 Susan-shaped magnolia trees in my yard. They're more like great big bushy bushes. And I get, in the spring, I get blossoms, buds that are like maybe 3 inches large, but they don't open. And I'm wondering if I should cut the leaves around the buds so that they get the sun and maybe will open.
No, whereabouts do you live?
I live in West Kelowna.
In West Kelowna, yeah. So in the past couple seasons, especially last winter and the winter before, actually, we had these cold snaps that were sort of unusual the way they happened. And a lot of these plants, they actually form their flower buds in August, even early August. So they're formed and they live on the plant. They're covered with those little fur coats, and they're fuzzy, and that goes into the winter. And that's all designed to prevent desiccation and prevent frost injury and all that kind of thing. And so it seems to be this perfect little package. But what happens is different varieties of magnolias have different frost-resistant abilities, and some of them just can't handle it when it goes beyond about -20 or so. And so on mine, I lost about 3/4 of the flowers last winter due to freezing. And then I still got about 25% of them that bloomed.
So did some, like with Pat's problem here, did some of those open, Ken, and then just did not open fully? Or
Yeah, I had all of the above. I had mostly ones that just never opened at all. Yeah. And so, again, it's a frost injury, right? So those things, you really can't do anything about those. Pat, I would just let them sort of be in a way. But in the summertime, like right now, I go out and I can still see dead wood that was damaged by frost from last year. So I'm going in and clipping out some of that. And
so, Pat, is this something that's happened just in the last year or two, or is it something that's been always perennial?
In the last 2 years.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's exactly what Ken, this smart fellow sitting across the desk from me, just said.
Yeah, there you go.
Should I cover them then?
Pretty
no.
difficult to cover a magnolia. It's
No, we just have to hope that the weather doesn't go too crazy. It only takes that one little cold snap somewhere during the winter that can cause the damage. So.
Well, mine were still blooming. I still had buds on them in August coming out.
Yeah.
And they didn't open up either. So
Okay.
just and
Well, it
should
could
I
be a
prune-
boron deficiency or something like that too. But because it happened the last 2 years only, I think what Ken's hit the nail on the head there. That it's to do with the real interesting anomaly weather that we've had this past couple of years.
And should I, now that they've grown so big and bushy that they're right down to the grass level, should I cut some of the lower branches off?
No, I don't think so. It's up to you, but those types of magnolias are more like a giant shrub shape. Yeah. So they're usually what they call liliiflora varieties.
Or stellata.
And stellata is a separate kind of group, but they they grow like a large shrub and eventually get to be like a tree. But what we do is we just kind of trim off some of the smaller twigs at the base just to give it a little bit more of an attractive shape.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Love your show.
Well, thank you for participation. Your participation today, Pat. We appreciate it.
Thank you for your information. Thanks. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye now. And we got to take a short break. We'll be back with the Garden Show after this short break. We're back with you on a beautiful Saturday morning. A little bit smoky out there, but hey, we can get a report because it's Addie, and you live across the lake. How's it going over there, Addie?
Well, you know what? I'm just driving into Kelowna to one of my grandson's soccer games, and it's not half as smoky here as it is on the west side.
Yeah, well, we can see that from the studio here. We look across,
Yeah,
well,
it's very, very smoky, very smelly smoky. Not only smoky, but smelly smoky.
Probably not good for us. Well, when you're on this side of the lake, Addie, why don't you pop by and say hello and have a look at some of my plants? I've got some cool plants.
Are you home this morning?
I'm home right after the garden show, yep.
Okay, I'll see what the kids are doing for lunch because I'm supposed to go for lunch with them or breakfast with them, so I'll see what they're doing.
Okay, dear.
Definitely, I may drop by.
I'd love to see you.
My question is, you guys gotta start lying to me. You gotta tell me that my morning glory, my wild morning glory, is going to get killed off with the periwinkle that I've got growing in the same spot. Will the periwinkle take over eventually?
Oh.
I said lie. You got to lie.
I got to lie? Oh, boy.
I'm just so tired of I mean, this stuff grows through shrubs where you can't get into it.
Oh,
so, if you're just pulling off the tops, will that kill it off or not?
It'll suppress it.
It helps. But
my buddy, our mutual friend Keith Hewitt told me that in his garden because he had some convolvulus or wild field bindweed or morning glory in his yard, quite a bit of it. And he says, I just kept pulling it, staying at it, keeping the top from growing because you need top to make the roots grow. And if you cut the top off all the time, you've sort of turned the motor down.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah, and the problem is it sneaks into areas and it does its thing without you even knowing it. And then all of a sudden you find it and it's 2 feet in diameter and it's like, where did that come from? And you pull it out and you try to get the roots and you get a piece of the root, but it goes sometimes 10 feet deep, that stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, I can't even get to the root because it's in between just a real thick shrub.
Yeah.
And I cannot get it, but I can get to the tops, but it seems like it was a never-ending battle. So I guess I'm just going to... And painting the leaves with any kind of a poison does not help.
Well, you can use Roundup on Morning Glory, but it's still tough to kill,
Exactly. I've used it, and it just does not do anything.
Yeah.
Well, it kills the leaf that I painted it on, but that's about it.
Right.
The other question is it too late to divide my irises?
No, this is still fine. September's a great month for peonies, irises, a lot of perennials in the garden. You can divide now and get them in new locations. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I just made a new spot in my garden, and I planted a couple of grasses and some hydrangea. I just hope it makes it through the winter, because I know it's late for hydrangea to be planting them now.
Yeah, a little bit, especially the macrophylla variety, where in coastal areas they would have no problem planting now. For us, we do have winter coming at some point. We're still in summer here for a bit. But I always say, especially for fall planting, is anything you do plant now is try to loosen up that root a bit and make sure it's in contact with the surrounding soil, so that in colder climates like ours, they're able to get some moisture over the winter. Because if it just has just the pot, like if the root ball is still in the shape of the pot, it's going to really struggle to dehydrate or desiccate over the winter months.
Yeah, no, I definitely did do that, but I don't know. It just seems to be that it's not really, it doesn't look like it's going to make it. It was a clearance item, and it was really packed in that pot. So I tried to loosen it as much as I could, but what can you do when you get it on sale? You think, well, you hope and pray.
Yep, and a little extra water right into that root ball, because when they do have that hard-packed root ball, you know that they're still trying to take most of their moisture out of that root ball, and because they haven't grown their roots out and around yet. So definitely just soak right into that root ball that is in there.
I did poke holes in the in the hydrangea pot quite a bit. Mm-hmm. It's the grass that I'm really worried about. I don't think the grass is gonna make it.
Yeah, grasses in the fall are not super successful. They're best to be done in the springtime, and they're happy and excited about growing.
Well, I'll tell you what happens next year.
Yeah, okay, that's awesome.
Hattie,
thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you betcha. Hope to see you in a bit. Okay.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye. And Addie's been calling in since day one, folks, just for anybody. Awesome. And she's a great gardener. She's passionate, and she's a good friend. We want to talk a little bit before the break about Abkazi Garden Art Show fundraiser. The Abkazi Gardens, of course, is in Victoria, and that's at 1964 Fairfield Road in Victoria. And from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., starting at September 6th, which was a few days ago, till October 8th. The artwork will be on display and for sale in the tea house, tea room, and gift shop. So, man, it's I wish we were there, Ken. You and I be there in a jiffy to see those gardens and see the artwork. Really is artists that have worked all through the season painting the gardens, pictures of the gardens, which is really, really cool. I think that's amazing, mostly what they've done. They may have other artwork there too, but it's just really, really a cool thing, cool concept. Mm-hmm. And that goes right through till October 8th. And then Thanksgiving, Monday, October 9th, the artwork is still on display and for sale in the tea house. That's the last day is Thanksgiving, Monday, October 9th, open to the public. And it's free admission. So there we go. Mm-hmm. And now there's all sorts of things going on there. But for you folks in Victoria, you just want to hop over to 1964 Fairfield Road and enjoy the gardens, enjoy the Abkazi gardens. Mm-hmm. Very nice. We've got some beautiful gardens here in Kelowna too. We encourage people to do that. Go to the garden, get some ideas and that.
Yeah. And for fall color, I mean, there's lots of stuff going on out there. Yeah.
Let's talk about fall color after the break, because there's lots going on. The calicarpa, the beauty berries coming on now, and
all kinds of stuff. Yeah, we'll talk about that after the break. I'll just mention really quick is that out in Lake Country there on Shanks Road, the Kell Lake greenhouses. I was out there just yesterday, and you know what they're putting out is all their melons and their watermelons and all their honeydew melons and that sort of thing that they grow right there on the property, and they're putting them out for sale because they're just beautifully ripe right now. And I would take advantage of one specifically, yellow doll watermelons. If you haven't had a yellow doll watermelon, oh my God, they're awesome. Check it out.
We're going to take a break now, the middle of the show, and we'll be back with the Garden Show after this short break. Wonderful. We're back with you, and we have Linda joining us. Good morning, Linda.
Hi there.
Morning.
I have a prune plum tree in my backyard, and this year they were ripening up nicely, and I started eating them because, why not? They're nice and delicious things. And I was going at it for about 3 days when one day I bit into one of the prunes. And what should I see in it but a long, light creamy yellow worm-like thing with a black end. And I began to take the plums from the tree and open them and take a look in, and some had one of these worms and some of them two of these worms. And there didn't seem to be a single one that didn't have them. And I must have eaten I don't know. I guess I had about 30 plums.
Yeah. Well, they're healthy for you. The protein.
They're
and
healthy.
But look at here. Here's the deal, Linda. More than likely, you've got spotted wing Drosophila. Oh, it's long. How long is the worm?
Well, about half my finger's length.
Oh, really? That long? Well,
yeah,
then what's that?
Big.
It's something different. Yeah. It's a fruit worm of some sort.
The Drosophila fly is
just
it's almost microscopic.
It's a little maggot.
And you have a hard time seeing them even when they're
you can
mature.
see them. And when with Drosophila, when you squeeze the prune plum, squeeze them, there's sap coming out of little holes all through it because
this is some sort of a grub. I would suggest that you take a picture of it and document it somehow, or maybe even send it to one of us if you can on an email.
No, I can't, because after I got rid of these plums, the infection seemed to be gone. They weren't around anymore.
Yeah, well, they usually insects that will access fruit like that will drop to the ground when they're finished eating, and they'll land in the ground. They'll make some sort of a cocoon of some sort, and then they will rehatch out and fly and go lay eggs again. So, but I have a feeling these ones will overwinter in the ground by the size of that. So then they'll be underneath the fruit tree ready to go for next year.
I see.
So what we need to do is we need to identify these things only because, like, I've been looking at plums for about, I don't know how long, 30, 40 years, and I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, that's interesting.
A little bit... and anytime we get these new species of insects or things that can be invasive in our areas, we need to document it, take pictures of it, save a sample, and get it to the local entomologist so that they can identify it, especially when you see them in every bit of the fruit. So all I can say is that if you see any other symptoms of it, or even find a prune that's fallen on the ground that you might have missed, and see if you can find it, it's always worthwhile to drop that off at the local agricultural service.
Or you could even drop it off at my place, and I can.
I'm not at your place.
Where?
I'm in Victoria.
Oh, you're in Victoria. Okay, well then, I'm sorry.
Interesting, though.
Yeah, you need to get somebody to look at that because. And there you go. You're in Victoria. That might not be something that's hardy enough to survive the Okanagan. So you might have something that we don't have here. So maybe that needs to be looked at because, you want to make sure that, people are aware of it. The authorities are aware of that.
Yeah, first off, they're all gone. I checked the prunes after, I didn't expect them to be gone that quickly. I had these prunes that were infected, and then after I got rid of the infected ones, there weren't any more to take to show anyone. Okay. But what I was wondering, about, I don't know, 40 worms
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's not going to hurt you. It won't hurt you, Linda.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go. We got 3 or 4 callers coming in, so we do have to go. But Linda, we appreciate your call, and
very interesting.
If you have any more questions or whatever, do give us a call. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, dear.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, bye.
Bye now. And we are welcoming Vivian to the show. Good morning, Vivian.
Good morning. That was disgusting. I haven't even had my breakfast yet.
Well, there you go.
Anyway, a quick question for you. I'd like to stock up on our local garlic now that it's available.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best way of keeping it?
Well, I'll tell you, I've learned quite a bit in the last couple of years, mainly from Dominic Ramponi and his dear wife. One of the things that I do now is after I dig it. Oh, now you're talking about buying some that already is
from the fruit stand.
Already dried.
They may have cured it already, and you can just hang it in a cool room. That's all that's necessary, and it'll hold up through the winter usually.
Okay.
But if you're digging it from the garden, you want to make sure you peel that outer skin so you right down to the white, and that's what's really saved.
Don't waste your time. I'm not going to garden.
Yeah.
But if you're buying it, and even if you're buying it, you want to make sure that you're seeing that, right?
Yeah,
is that if it's because it doesn't just because people grow it doesn't mean they know how to prepare it,
or they haven't taken the time to do that because it does take a little bit of time.
It does take time to peel off the outer parts so that it's right down to that nice white interior, and that's how it keeps best. And anytime we leave any of that on, it reduces its shelf life.
You mean that outer skin, peel it right down to the rhizome?
Well, you peel that outer skin off until you see just the white flesh of the garlic.
Well, the
really?
white.
Yeah. You
the white.
The white.
The fleshy part.
Yeah. And it's nice and shiny, and you just peel off that outer skin there, and that's what's done it for us because we've stored garlic before inside there, and so that's peeling that down to that skin. It just seems to do something.
So you're leaving this inner skin, or you're just getting the actual clove completely naked?
Oh no, you leave the. Well, it's an outside skin, Ken, and it's really easy to do.
I understand that I would peel it right down to the meaty part of the garlic.
Well, you do, but it's still
There's
covered.
Still
There's skin over it, but it's
So do you see the individual cloves? That's the
sure you can. Yeah.
So when you get down to that point, then each clove is covered.
All that papery skin.
Yeah, all the papery stuff.
I would get and just store it on a shelf.
Yeah, I've been braiding some and hanging it in our kitchen. Yeah.
Hanging it.
Just hang it. So it's got air circulation, Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, then. Thank you very much. You have a good day.
You betcha. Thank you for calling. We appreciate it. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. That was Vivian. Now we have Donna, line 3. Good morning, Donna.
Hi. So I have kept my canna lily bulbs over winter and put them back out in the garden, and they've got great foliage, but I've had no flowers. So I'm wondering if there's something I should store them in or store them some different way, or is it just that the ground wasn't warm enough to get them, to go to.
And where are you located?
Glenmore.
In Glenmore area? Yeah, well, and they're in a really sunny spot.
They are, yep.
Yeah, so they should have bloomed normally. Yeah,
I would have thought so, yeah. So normally what I do is put them in a bucket and put the bucket in the ground because I got to pull them back up again. This year I thought I'd just put them right in the ground and just dig them up. But yes, they're beautiful. I mean, the foliage is 4 feet, 5 feet tall, but there's not a sign of a bloom on them, and we're past the time.
Interesting. Now these are cannas that you've had for a few years, or
yes, a few years,
and they normally bloom well if you leave them in the bucket. Yeah.
And you still were continuing with a food supply, like regular fertilization and all that?
Well, I have it's in the garden, so it has the normal, top dressing and all that sort of thing. But no, I haven't specifically. Okay. I mean, it's right near my roses. My roses are doing fabulous. My zinnias are doing fabulous. Everything around it's doing fabulous, but not. Yeah. And the growth is beautiful. I mean, it's that beautiful red, leaf. So it's nice. Yeah. It's got contrast and stuff. But I did hope to see some blossoms, and I have not one.
Yeah, it could be just an oddball season for one reason or another. But the one thing with cannas for optimum performance is that constant feeding. And like even in pots and things, that I have some pots that I haven't been able to get the food to as much as other ones. And the ones that I feed all the time, they were just up and blooming reasonably early and bloomed and bloomed and bloomed. I think they're pretty close to being, no, there's still a few blooming right now. But yeah, so it seems like that as long as I'm feeding them, they seem to bloom. But the ones that I wasn't able to get enough food on, they didn't perform as well, and some have completely stopped blooming now. So it could be just a food issue.
Maybe what it is, yeah.
Yeah, when you had them in the pots, maybe you were feeding a bit more?
Of course I was, because, the pots were more accessible. You're right.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
That could be it. And, Donna, we appreciate your call.
Okay, thank you very much, guys.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Now, we're going to take a break, but we've got Ronnie who's going to talk to us about the wonderful gardens that are in Victoria that are open to the art show, and we'll talk about that. We've also got Dominic calling in, Dominic Ramponi, and we're going to talk to him just in general about gardening and how the season went. But we'll do that when we come back with the Garden Show after this short break. Okie dokie, we are going to talk to Ronnie now. And Ronnie, you want to talk about the Abkazi Garden and Art Show? How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. And you?
Excellent. And we're Ken and I are drooling here. Because we would love to be there, but unfortunately,
you really need to make a trip out here.
I know we do. Maybe we'll go to the
site manager is hoping that you will at some point. So.
We will, and we'll go to we'll broadcast from the studios in Victoria.
Oh, that would be cool.
There you go.
Yeah. Very cool. So thank you very much for mentioning the art show again at the bottom of the end of the last hour. Appreciate that. Tomorrow is going to be Grandparents' Day. Like, it's not just Grandparents' Day for the garden, it's Grandparents' Day. And so we're celebrating that with 11 till 5. And so folks can come in, and there's no requirement to make a donation or anything. So we'll also have the plant sale, which is always sought after in the city. There'll be a variety of plants for fall and winter containers. There'll be some plants that are unique to Abkazi garden themselves, especially the Bella Bella magnolia tree. Each one of those trees comes with a certificate of origin. New this year is going to be some hand-turned wooden bowls made by local artist Duncan Kemp. And some of those bowls are made from an Abkazi garden, Gary Oak, that took a tumble last year with all the winds. And, so most of the plants are grown at the garden. There are some donations from people. And all the proceeds, all the money raised goes to the living heritage of our garden, and we're ever so grateful for everyone who comes to the garden to buy the plants. There's going to be prizes that will be awarded. You can enter to win afternoon tea for 2 at the Tea House, which is a very coveted prize. There will also be Abkazi Garden children's activity books and other prizes that can be won. So, and at that time, you can also see the art show in the Tea House. So,
very exciting.
It's a full-packed day, yes. And our head gardener, Jackie Paulson, and one of our knowledgeable plant volunteers, Lori, will be on hand to answer questions about the plants. So, if you have any questions about anything that you're wanting to buy, will it work here? Will it work there? They will know the answer to that. So.
Fabulous.
We've got a couple of callers waiting to get on, but
absolutely.
But I'll tell you, Ronnie, we would like to hear just a brief, 1 or 2 minute explanation of the gardens, maybe a little bit of the history and how they came to be.
It's very difficult to do that in a minute or two.
Okay. Well, then why don't we?
If people want to look at a documentary on YouTube called Abkazi Garden, Sanctuary from War, It was made up by Professor Jeffrey Bird, who's a war historian, and it explores the stories of Peggy and Nicholas, whose lives were caught up in the world wars, and their story brings them to Victoria, where they created the beautiful garden. So it goes into their background, and it has information about the garden as well.
And
and if you want somebody to actually give you a rundown, like a little succinct, I'll get one of my co-volunteers to do that.
We'd love to have that happen.
Okay.
It's spelled ABKHAZI.
Yes.
ABKHAZI, and if you look up on YouTube, you'll see a documentary.
Yeah, Abkazi Garden Sanctuary from War.
Ronnie, we appreciate that call very much, and you're welcome to call in anytime.
Thank you very much. I do have my own garden questions, and that's why I ended up being the one who's calling into you guys for the Abkazi thing. So
yes, you have a garden question, quickly.
Well, I just want to comment that you had told me to leave all the leaves on my cucumber plants when it only produced the one cucumber, and so I did, and now I've got like 4 humongous cucumbers on there, so thank you very much for that. I would have definitely filled the plant.
Thank you for the call.
Thank you so much.
Okay, dear.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now. And Dominic, good morning, Dominic. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning, guys, and it's a beautiful sunny day, and gardens are still growing, and just a caution to people, don't plant the garlic too early.
No. Get it in. Thanksgiving is a good time.
Exactly. And then, like I said before, is one thing we've done for maybe, I don't know how long, a long time, is if you can get a hold of some straw, is after you plant the garlic, you cover your garlic patch by covering it with straw. It helps with weed control and insulates it in case we get a cold winter.
Right.
Well, and I'll tell you, that help you guys gave us on preparing the garlic for storage and whatnot. I can't believe the results we got from peeling that outer skin off down to the white.
I know.
It really made a difference.
Yeah, totally. And garlic's such a well-used spice that, and I do encourage people to try it on their toast on the morning.
I know.
Get fresh garlic and slice it really thin and put it on the toast.
I got to do that.
And then have a glass of red wine with it too.
At 8 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning. That's just right on.
Start your day out.
You must be Italian.
It must be, yeah. But the other neat thing, which I'm so proud to be a resident of British Columbia and a longtime resident of British Columbia, is what we have in this province. And if it's not growing, it's mined, because without the mining industry, we don't have fertilizers.
Right.
So those two industries go hand in hand that make it the Okanagan Valley as fruitful as it is. So remember, if it's not growing, it's mined.
Well, there you go, Dominic. We appreciate the call, as usual.
Okay, you guys have a great day.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks,
Take
Tom.
care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And before we take the break here at, before we finish the show, we've got to get Donna on. Good morning, Donna.
Good morning. I have a quick question about my cyclamen. I've had it for almost 2 years and never had a problem with it. All of a sudden, in the last couple of months, the leaves are turning yellow fairly quickly.
This is cyclamen?
Too much water, not enough water.
Well, do you water it from the top or the bottom?
Top.
Because I think you might want to back off on the water, because you can back right off on the cyclamen and let them go quite dormant, because they have that nice bulbous. It's not a corm, but it's a tuber of some sort. Yeah, and you can back off on the water and really back off on it and let it kind of just go almost dormant, and then when you do water, you water it a little bit from the bottom in a saucer and see what happens there. It probably will come back. I've heard of this happening before. I've seen it happen. It's happened with some of the plants in our greenhouse as well. So it will survive, I think. Donna? Yep.
Yeah, because it was, when I first got it, of course, it sort of died off a bit and stuff, but it's been doing really well, and I don't know, although I think I may tend to overwater sometimes, but It's weird that all of a sudden it started to do that.
Yeah, if it does, if it starts to get a little bit of root rot, it can be the end of it, unfortunately, because the bulb part of the tuber will start to rot. If that starts to rot, well,
then you're done.
So the whole thing is to feel that, try to open up the surface a bit so you can see that the tuber there, and then just press on it lightly with your fingers and see if it's soft or if it's hard, and if it's still got some firmness to it, it'll likely be fine. I like the idea, as Don was saying, to just let it dry out and let it go dormant, and that sort of gives you a new starting point. And then you can trim off the foliage as it yellows, and then at some point you kind of just I usually let them just sit for a little while, maybe even a month or so, and then they'll start to send out a few new shoots, and that's a trigger to know that you can start just slowly watering it again.
Oh, okay.
And that gets them going, and then all of a sudden, boom, away they go. A little bit of fertilizer, and the whole thing comes back, and it starts doing its thing again.
I had exactly the same thing happen with this tuberous begonia basket that we had last year, and I put it in the greenhouse and just let it go dry, and it's dried right out. And be darned, without me doing a thing in the spring, as the days got longer, it started to push, and so then I resumed the watering. But they hold all that moisture right in that tuber.
Okay? Good. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Appreciate the call.
Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
And on that note, we're going to take a short break at the bottom of the hour here, and we'll be back with the Garden Show after this short break. Well, we're back with you. A little smoky across the lake there. It's too bad. We're going to really hope that this fire situation gets out of here as quickly as possible. We have Anna joining us. Good morning, Anna.
Good morning. Yes, I have a question. I noticed that my spring bulbs are starting to grow in my front flower garden. Is that unusual? Or are they going to freeze and regrow, or what would happen with that?
Like you're talking tulips and daffodils and things like that?
Yeah.
They may not be those varieties. There's a lot of bulbs that bloom in the fall and spring. They grow in the fall and then they bloom in the spring. So we do see a lot of the spring bloomers. Some of the Chianodoxas and the Scillas and sort of assorted varieties that will put on all their foliage in the fall and grow quite aggressively and actually look quite beautiful and healthy. And then go into winter, they'll die off, and then in the spring shoot up the flowers and do their thing. So it may be just a variety. Because typically there's preventers there's a prevention method that the bulbs have of not doing that, which involves long periods of cold prior to blooming.
Now, where are they located, and has this happened before?
No, it's never happened before. That's why I'm calling.
Okay. Never happened before. And where are they located in the garden?
They're in my front yard facing the north, and so they're usually late coming in the spring because of that reason. Right. And my peonies, they often have started up, but I've never had my bulbs start up.
They seem to be confused. How much have they started? Like, how much have they pushed?
They're probably about 2.5, 3 inches.
Oh, really? That much, eh?
Yeah.
Well, I would advise you now, are you in the Okanagan or are you in Victoria?
Yeah, in Kelowna, out in Scotty Creek.
Scotty Creek area. Well, what I would do is wait until we get those frosty evenings, frosty nights. Don't do it before then, but when you get the frosty nights, you might want to get some mulch and mulch them up, and then in the spring you can remove that mulch as soon as it starts to
get warm.
The ground starts to melt. You can, but you don't leave it too long in the spring with the mulch on there, or else they're going to grow and get all white inside, and they'll be very weak. But just to protect that, it is interesting because, as Ken said, they do normally need, like, bulbs normally
13 to 16 weeks below or like close to freezing. Well, and tulips will grow right on the surface without any protection.
Be interesting to know if anybody else has that. I'm going to check mine out.
Well, I know in our gardens, like we do a lot of gardens, and they are full of a lot of bulbs right now that bloom in the spring and grow foliage in the fall. So But that's the whole thing, is identifying which varieties are which, and hopefully there is not some sort of a weird anomaly. I mean, last year the leaves stayed on over winter. I mean, what was that about? You know, so it's not. I would say it's impossible, but I would have said it was
climate change.
Yeah, I would have thought it was impossible for the leaves to stay on over winter, right?
Mm-hmm. The times they are a changing. Sounds like Bob Dylan tune.
There you go. All righty.
Yeah. All right. I was going to mention too. Our Rose of Sharon 2 years ago froze except for one branch, and we didn't want to pull it out, so we left it in. And then last summer we trimmed it and sort of kept it. And then this year or last winter it froze again, and a little more bloom started growing this year, and that eventually it's come to a full-grown tree again. And it's blooming like it never did before.
Oh, that's fabulous.
That's good news. Good news. We like to hear good
happy.
news.
Yeah, mine, I have two of them, one in the front, one in the back. And the one in the back seemed to come through the winter okay, but the one in the front, it froze quite severely. And now it's starting to grow. It's got a few blooms on it. And fingers crossed next year we can get it back to being a decent size.
Yeah. Anyway, strange things.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Gotcha.
but that's gardening, and that's what keeps us interested in it.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for the call. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. And that was Anna, and we invite your calls, 250-862-2525, if you're in the listening audience in Kelowna or the surrounding area here. 1-888-780-4273 if you're listening from Victoria. We love to hear from you. And let's see. I was just looking at my notes here, and, we've been drying cherries, right? I brought some in for you at one point. Donna made some cookies with these whole dried cherries in the cookies. Like I need cookies, Ken. I mean, yeah, right. In fact, we had each cookie when she first got them out of the oven, and they were so good. And then they disappeared. Like, oh no, where are the cookies? So we ended up, they were in the freezer, but I found them. And we have a I hope Donna's not listening, but anyway, and I have a microwave, and so I just heated those babies up.
Seconds.
Oh my goodness, they are delicious. Those dried cherries are something else. And you've just tried the dried. Did you try some of the dried figs?
Yeah, really good.
They're good, aren't they?
Yeah. Mine have disappeared as well. I just you might want to make a note of that, Don.
They disappear.
They tend to disappear.
They disappear. Yeah. Well, there's a great and Dominic. We took some dried cherries up to Dominic and a bag of them, and it's amazing because one big freezer bag of cherries is a whole case of cherries.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one big box of cherries all boiled down into a big freezer bag.
Wow!
So it's amazing what you can do. We're going to do more and more of it. We're going to get those Flemish Beauty pears and try some of the pears. We're going to try some apples. We've tried. If you look at my Facebook page, I posted on Facebook a lot of the dried stuff we've been doing. Some of the what didn't work? Cucumbers.
Yeah.
Cucumbers did not work.
That's what I would assume is any fruit that's mostly water would be difficult.
I haven't been watching my phone, and Gorinder's got 2 phone calls that we need to talk to. Al, first of all. Good morning, Al.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey.
Yep. You have a question for us today?
Good morning. I have a question regarding clematis trees.
Clematis vines, yep.
Yeah. We purchased two commercial clematis a couple of years ago. They were, just tiny. And they've now grown to about 40 inches tall. One is in the greenhouse, and the other is outside of the greenhouse, adjacent to the greenhouse. This year they bloomed beautifully. They're really a very attractive plants. Question now is the blooming, of course, is completed, and the leaves are starting to drop. So we're wondering, do we just let the leaves drop and leave the stems, or do we cut them down? Do we cut the stems down?
There are 3 types of clematis, and they all 3 take different pruning methods. So if you knew the name we could tell you what category each one was in.
Or what did you do last year?
Last year they were just in the growth stage, so we
didn't touch them. Yeah,
So
we didn't touch them. No,
that tells you there that if they bloom this year, that they are blooming on the older wood. So so it tells you to clean them up a little bit, as just let the leaves fall as they will, and tidy them up, and leave the stems intact.
I just went out to the greenhouse and I took the label off of one. It says Vancouver Mystic Gem.
Okay.
If that means anything.
Does it say anything on there, A, B, C, or a 1, 2, 3 pruning schedule? If it sometimes on the tag it'll say pruning, and it'll give you the type it is. Now Ken's looking it up to see.
There is something on here. Okay,
Yeah.
I should have looked at that before.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look
If
at
it's a
that.
1 or an A, then you don't prune it much at all. If it's a C or a 3, then you prune it right down to 6 or 8 inches off the ground.
Okay.
In the spring.
In the spring, not now.
In the spring. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Thanks for calling.
Okay.
Bye.
Right on.
Bye. Yeah, and that's the thing with clematis is that you do follow the label on the pruning, because there's 3 different types you want to track.
And the interesting thing, Ken, is I've said this before on the show, and I've said this many times. Somebody said, well, if you don't know what you've got, then prune it down low, and if it doesn't bloom, you shouldn't have pruned it.
Yeah.
But it'll regrow and it'll do its thing, but just don't prune it again.
Don't prune it.
That's right. Good morning, Elma. You're with us this morning.
I have several Christmas cactuses, and other years they were just full of blossoms, and lately, like last year, and that they just don't have one blossom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, at this time of year, usually, whereabouts are you located? Are you?
Kelowna,
You're
here,
in
Glenmore.
Kelowna, yeah. So what you would do is right now is set them outside in a shady location.
Yes.
And then just keep them in that shady location until somewhere around the end of September.
Yes.
So that should give you about 2 to 3 weeks.
Mhm.
And these nights are getting nice and cool.
Yes.
And that's what triggers them to flower.
Oh, good.
And so, just leave them outside for a couple weeks here. This is perfect timing. And around the end of the month, and you can bring them back in and just keep them in a sunny window. And remember that Christmas cactuses are tropical, so they don't mind a little bit of watering. I kind of like to let them dry between waterings, but then I don't leave them too dry. And then, they should bloom in October typically.
Yes.
And sometimes even a little later. So that's what they call the Christmas cactus time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Well, good luck with that.
Elma, thanks for joining the show today. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Take care, dear.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And before we take the break, we've got Vicki joining us. Good morning, Vicki.
Good morning. I love your show.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
I have a honeysuckle, and the hummingbirds love it. And last year it was kind of getting out of hand. So last fall I went through and I trimmed off all the little dead parts. But it's still getting out of hand. How far back can I trim that and keep control of it?
Yeah, it's a tricky one because it's a timing issue, and also they bloom on that sort of new growth that comes out on them. So they're always blooming on the tips. So usually what it means is that the plant is probably in a spot that's too small for it. Because the honeysuckles, especially the vine types, they get to be quite large, and they need room to grow. And if they just don't have the room, sometimes it might mean relocating it somewhere where it does have room. But so cutting it back isn't always the answer, because if we cut it back, then it doesn't bloom until it grows back quite a bit, and it's tricky. So it's challenging.
So I should just go in there and cut out the dead stuff and leave it alone?
Well, what I would do is trim it. I would probably leave it until the springtime. Like I would, clean it up so it looks tidy. But every spring when you go out, cut it back by about, I'd say, removing at least half of the entire plant.
Oh, really? Okay.
So at least, yeah. So then you get back to sort of this framework of branches on your. It's a vine type, right? It's a trellis on a trellis.
No, actually, I put it up against a retaining wall, and now I grow tomatoes on the other side of the wall because it reflects the heat onto that part of the garden, and now it hangs over. It's more like a bush.
Yeah, well, yeah. So it's still spreading. It's still one of those ones, and it has little trumpet flowers on it.
Yes, the hummingbirds love it. Actually, last week I had a little tiny brown hummingbird in there, and it was actually flying inside the mass of branches because there's still flowers.
Yeah, I would just, as long as they're blooming, just let them do their thing as long as you have room. But like I say, in the springtime, you can feel free to cut them fairly hard and just kind of get them down back into shape a little bit and then let them regrow from that point.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. I was afraid of cutting off the live stuff. That's why I was kind of picking through it and cutting off the dead stuff.
Yeah, and that's
But I'm
good.
okay to cut the live stuff off as well in the spring.
In the spring. At this time of year, definitely cut the dead out and leave those blooms because there's still hummingbirds around that are going to love that.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank
you, dear. Appreciate the call.
Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye now. And we have, after the break, we're going to take a short break here, but we've got Shannon waiting for us, and we're anxious to talk to Shannon when we come back with The Garden Show after this short break. We are back with you, and we've got 3 callers to go through, and so we've got Shannon joining us. Good morning, Shannon.
Yes, good morning, Dawn. Good morning, Ken. I'm calling from Victoria.
Nice.
And I wanted to say thank you so much for interviewing the lady about abkazi gardens. It sounds very exciting, and I'm very excited to go.
Nice.
And I also just, my interest was piqued when you were talking to the previous caller about Christmas cactus. And I wondered if the same principle would apply over here as far as putting it into the shade.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just the night temperatures need to drop just below about 10 degrees Celsius, and that's enough to trigger it. But it takes about 2 to 3 weeks of those cool nights, and that just sets the buds in them to bloom. And so, this is typically what I usually often grow mine outside all summer just as a plant, and then in the fall I wait till the end of September and bring it in, and it always seems like that the cooler nights just get it so excited that when I bring it in, it just blooms the whole month of October. And then by December, it's pretty much done, but it's so spectacular. Every single stem blooms.
Amazing.
There you go.
And is it something that you would consider repotting at any time, or is there a better time to do that?
Well, I would say in the springtime. The deal with repotting with Christmas cactus is that it encourages it to grow. And when you get all those new little shoots coming out, they don't bloom. And they can't bloom because they're not mature enough to produce a flower. So, I wouldn't want to transplant, say, in early August because then I would get that new shoots coming on, and that would deter my bloom.
Appreciate that.
There you go.
Thank you so much. That was very helpful.
Awesome.
Thank you, Shannon. Appreciate the call. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. And we have Wendy joining us. Good morning, Wendy.
Guys,
morning.
I'm just calling with a shameless plug for Grower Coach, which is Ken's online business. And I don't know if people understand this situation, but he has been for about 10 years putting these videos together, all plant-related and fascinating, some very detailed, some very broad. And they're all on YouTube, and they're free. You can watch them at any time. And I didn't know until about 5 years ago about YouTube, but it's fascinating. You can just spend hours looking up videos of things that you're interested in. So I just wanted to just do a plug for his YouTube channel and his videos. And, if you're liking him on the radio, you'll love him on YouTube.
And Dawn, too, because both of us often get into the videos. And
well, lots of your videos are about Dawn's garden, so that's cool, too. It opens it up to anybody who wonders on the radio, what are these goofy guys on the radio look like? Well, check it out.
Wendy, we appreciate your call. We love you, and thank you, and we will do a little bit more effort on getting that grower coach promotion out there, because it is a wonderful thing for people to see.
It's a wonderful thing.
You betcha.
Thank you, dear. Bye, guys.
All right,
Okay.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Yeah, my lovely wife.
Yeah, that's Wendy.
She's
Salvail.
part of the team.
Wendy Salvail.
Yeah, she's marketing.
Yeah, and I think we have a report from Salt Spring Island. Is this Tara from Salt Spring?
Yes, it is. Hi, how you doing?
We're doing well, thank you. Good to hear from you.
Good.
Mhm.
I know it's been a while. I just wanted to let you know that I guess it was a couple months ago when I called in, maybe not that long ago, anyway, about my Buddleia Davidii, and it had died right back. And you guys both advised me, just keep an eye on the base, and it will likely come back, which it did. So you were right.
Fabulous.
Well, that's good. That's good. And how is the weather there? Is it getting a little chillier in the evening yet, or is it?
Yeah, it is. It's chilling off now, so just got our first load of firewood ready. So.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's
but,
great.
The Buddleia came back, but I have to tell you, a couple of weeks ago, my grandchildren were here, and that Buddleia that was my granddaughter's tree, and of course she came up the walkway into my garden and saw it and gasped because it's just a big twig. But we've got the bird feeder hanging on it.
Well, there you
right
go.
now.
It's
and the
called
birds are loving it.
It's a wildlife bush.
Yes. So all the base is coming up, but my granddaughter was like, "Oh, Grandma." And I said, "Okay, you'd let me know what you want me to do. Should I cut these branches off because the birds are kind of liking that, or, should I cut it down or should I leave it?" She goes, "I think we should leave it for the birds." And I said, "Okay."
Of course.
So.
Tara,
So,
we love you. We love
we'll
to
do
hear
that.
from you. When you call in again, call in earlier in the show, because
Yeah,
we've got
I'll call
we're
in earlier
limited for
next
time
time.
right now.
I know. I understand that
Yep.
for sure.
We-
Okay, you guys take care.
Thank you, dear. We appreciate
See you
it.
later.
Okay, bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
And we have one last caller that we're going to deal with, because we always like to. Hey, Louie, it's you. How you doing, buddy?
Well, not too badly, Master Gardeners. Here's the professional speaking.
There you
the
go.
professional amateur. I don't know if should I brag
I think
or
you
should
should.
I snivel,
No, I think you should brag, Louie. You've been at it a long time, and
I can brag about our cactus or cacti, or how do you call it? It's about 15 or even so older than that. The queen of the night.
oh, that's Ken's favorite.
We trimmed it so many times. Many friend of ours had a chunk of it, you know?
Mhm, Yep.
And right on the top, there's a bunch of them coming out, and they are beautiful. They are as big like your hand, you know?
Good for you. What's the name of that one, Ken?
Queen of the night.
Yeah, Epiphyllum oxypetalum.
Oxypetalum, yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we call her the queen of the
Well,
night
of course,
because she flowers only once, and then it's game over.
And
during
then it's
the day
done.
is gone, eh?
Yeah, and they're
man.
fragrant too, those things.
And you know why? Because they're pollinated by bats.
Yeah, I know why. Because he is afraid that the other animals or birds gonna eat them, eh? Yeah, right. In a desert, you know, there are all kind of little creatures like mice and what have you. They get at it, eh?
That's right.
So
Well, I
life
still
is,
want to come out. I still want to come out and see your garden, Louis.
Well, I tell you, mine tobacco is 8 foot tall, and it's no joking matter.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, and then I planted 6 of them silver-looking squash, and then this hoki-doki hokai Japanese squash, and they're taking over the garden. You know, they figure, we are the government, eh?
Yep, you betcha. Louis,
I tell you, it's unbelievable. Now, I wish you all the best,
Well,
you guys.
we always love to hear from you, Louis. You got a great sense of humor. We like to hear from you.
We have to have it, otherwise
Yep.
nobody goes to the funeral,
That's
you know?
right. You take care, buddy.
All the best.
Yeah.
Take care, you guys.
You
have a
betcha.
nice weekend.
Bye-bye.
Oh,
Bye.
Now it's just about time to start the tips and the plants and all the rest of the stuff that we normally do, and that's what we're going to do. My tip of the week this week, is if you want to save some annuals for next year, such as geraniums and coleus and other favorite plants like petunias and that, if you don't want to carry the big plants through in their containers, take some cuttings right now, and all you have to do is put them on the windowsill and keep them through the winter as a small plant. My plant of the week is the Cyclamen Neapolitanum album, the white one. I've also seen the pinkier one, which is at Gushican Gardens, but mine is pure white. Got it from Helen. Beautiful plant, little cyclamen. You got to get down on your hands and knees to enjoy it, though.
Fabulous. I also have a tip and a plant, and my tip of the week is go big or go home when it comes to fall bulbs. I always like to cut some nice tulips or daffodils in the springtime, but if you cut them and you only have a few, well, then you lose that beautiful color in the landscape. So put a lot of bulbs in each hole. I usually put up to 12, maybe 15 bulbs into a single hole, and I get this beautiful bouquet that I can rob flowers from whenever I like. Now, my plant of the week is the fall crocus, the Colchicum autumnale, which is a beautiful fall blooming plant, but only blooms at this time of year. All the foliage happens in the spring. That's it for my tips and plants for this week. Remember to check growercoach.com and Grower Coach on YouTube.
You betcha. And we do have a Shigo moment this week, and it is around 1845. The germ theory began to be accepted.
Oh.
About 1845. This was the most turbulent time in science, and that was what happened. I'm going to be speaking at the Bonsai Club on Tuesday. Look on my Facebook page, and you'll see that or look up the Kelowna Bonsai Club online, and you'll see the date, time, and place, and everything like that. We will see you again next week with more of The Garden Show.